Hello guys and welcome to Poser's Movie Recaps. Our story today is about a pretty young orphaned woman, who discovers her long-lost distant relatives through a DNA test. Wanting to meet a family, she accepts an invitation to a wedding, not knowing that her family holds horrible dark secrets. The film begins in one stormy night, where the butler opens a locked door and urges the woman inside to eat something, as she looks terribly weak already. The woman refuses to eat but instead, she sees an opportunity to escape and knocks the man out. She rushes out of the room and runs through the hall, where she finds a string of a grand piano, and decides to use it to end her suffering. Just after she tied the string to her neck, the alarm in the mansion goes off. Before anyone can reach her, the woman quickly jumps to her end, severing her head in the process. In the present, a young orphaned woman named Evie is working as a waitress with her best friend Grace in New York City. After the shift, the pair starts making fun of their boss, but when the man hears them, he threatens to fire them from their job. Before they leave, Grace gives Evie a swag bag that includes some giveaways and a DNA test kit. After Evie reaches her home, she does some pottery for her artwork, which is her real passion in life. Later, she searched the internet for information about DNA matching and found herself curious to use the kit. After she mailed a sample, the company emailed her results and Evie found that she had a distant cousin living in London. To make the matter more interesting, the said cousin invites her for a coffee, as he will be traveling to New York in the same week. Grace advises her to be cautious, but Evie wants to meet him because he's family and she doesn't have much left. A couple of days later, Evie meets Oliver Alexander, her distant cousin, and the man excitedly asks her to tell him everything about her life. Evie eagerly answers his questions and adds that when her mom was still alive, she used to express her desire to take her to England, so they could learn more about their family history. After hearing this, Oliver shares what he knows of Evie's great-grandmother Emmeline, who before her marriage had an illicit affair with a black footman, and the said man had left their village and raised their baby on his own when Emmeline passed. He then invites Evie to attend the wedding of another cousin in England, but Evie declines and explains that she's not currently capable of financing a travel. Oliver offers that it can be his treat, as he has so many frequent flyer miles that Evie is free to use. Evie is still skeptical, but Oliver is persistent and tells her that he already mentioned her to all of his family, and everyone is excited to meet her. After a little more persuasion, Evie gives in and accepts his offer. A few days later, Evie flies to England where Oliver happily picks her up at the airport. They drive to the beautiful countryside while Oliver tells her about their host, the Deville family. When they reach their destination, Evie is mesmerized by the grand mansion and thinks that the owner must be royalty. While trying to send a message to Grace, Evie accidentally runs into one of the maids resulting in some broken glass. The butler approaches them and snobbishly tells the maids to clean it up fast, and Evie immediately defended the maid and tells the man that it was her fault. That is when another man intervenes and apologizes for the butler's behavior, who turns out to be the host that Oliver has been looking for. Oliver officially introduces the man as Walter Deville, the lord of the manor and owner of the place, who warmly welcomes Evie to his mansion. She also learns the butler's name to be Mr. Field, who is tasked to escort her inside. He explains the rules within the house and warns her not to enter the library because it is under renovation. He also introduces her to Mrs. Swift, the maid who is going to assist her for the duration of her stay. Inside the bedroom, she sees that all the windows have bars, and Mrs. Swift explains that it is due to some aggressive carnivorous birds that sometimes attack humans. Mrs. Swift also teaches her how to call a maid using the bells if she needs them, and when Evie sees an old painting, the older woman tells her that she was the former lady of the house. As Evie settles in, she calls Grace and tells her about her recent encounters, which clearly shows that Evie has a small crush on Walter. Their chat is interrupted when Walter knocks on the door, and out of nowhere, apologizes again for what happened with the butler earlier. Evie admires the show of humility and accepts his apology. Later that night, Evie goes for a jog around the property and notices a silhouette of a woman standing by the window looking at her, who keeps saying, "It all ends here with me," which is the same last word that Emmeline speaks before her demise. Suddenly, Evie wakes from a nightmare and hears a woman whispering her name. She turns the lights on and looks around, then goes out of the bedroom to get water from the kitchen. She hears the butler instructing several maids to wait for their assignments, unaware of the creature creeping behind her. Mrs. Swift appears out of nowhere and insists that she return to her room, as it is not safe after dark. At the same moment, Mr. Field assigns one of the maids to clean the library, and asks the rest of them to return to their quarters. As he leaves the maid, the butler recites a strange prayer before walking away. Inside the library, the maid is unable to turn the lights on, so she lights some candles and continues with her work. Suddenly, an unknown entity stalks her and without a warning attacks the woman. The next morning, Evie overslept and frantically prepares for a family get-together. As soon as she enters the hall, a distant uncle named Julius Alexander introduces himself and warmly welcomes Evie. Oliver points to an elderly man named Alfred Alexander, the patriarch, who proposes a toast to welcome her to the family. He expresses her gratitude for learning about a female relative among mostly men in his family, and everyone is overjoyed to meet her. Meanwhile, Mr. Field visits the kitchen and asks two of the maids to follow him. He asks them to fetch an 1897 Vino Cruer wine from the liquor room in the cellar, and the butler locks the entrance once the two unsuspecting maids go down the stairs. While looking for the wine, the maids are attacked by the same unknown creature earlier, while Mr. Fields is seen muttering a prayer as he walks away. Later, Evie finds a beautiful yellow dress in her room along with a note that it's from Walter. The same evening, Evie wears the dress that Walter has given her, and as she walks to the party, they even formally announce her entrance. She meets the snobbish Victoria and friendly Lucy, the supposed bridesmaid for the wedding. When she asks about the bride Cecile, the two are momentarily confused until they seem to make up a story of knowing her for years. Lucy is from the Billington family who handled DeVille's legal affairs for generations, while Victoria is from the Klopstocks who managed their finances, and the Alexanders find them their incredible homes. Not long after, Walter makes an appearance as the Lord of the Manor, who quickly grabs Evie for the customary first dance of the night. After several guests take their lead on the dance floor, the pair discreetly leaves and walks through the garden. He then takes her to the ice house from the bygone era, and shows her some more artwork which further entices Evie to the man. The night ends with them sharing a kiss, complete with fireworks in the background. Later, as Evie sleeps in her bedroom, she wakes when someone whispers her name. When she looks around, she notices a hand sticking from the curtain and a shadow passing by. She hides under the bed when suddenly, Walter pulls her and tries to calm Evie. When Evie continues to panic, Walter offers to stay for the night to ease her mind. Mrs. Swift arrives to clean the mess in her room, and when she's about to say something, Walter interrupts and dismisses her. As they prepare to sleep, Evie urges him to talk to her, and the two start sharing about their lives. The next morning, Victoria and Lucy enter her room without her permission, holding a robe, and invite Evie to their plans to pamper themselves in a spa. Evie expresses her excitement to meet the bride and groom that night, but in reality, she is starting to get puzzled as to why they haven't made an appearance. Lucy tells her that they are a perfect match, and asks Evie if she wants to get married too. Evie answers that she's not ready yet to make that kind of commitment, so maybe someday but not in the near future. As Lucy and Evie enjoy their manicure, Victoria starts asking weird questions to Evie, which makes the young woman extremely uncomfortable. Suddenly, the attendant accidentally cuts her finger, causing it to bleed. Victoria approaches her and asks if she can take a look at the injury, and when she did, she starts sucking her finger. Evie is disgusted by her action and leaves, while Victoria yells that she's just teasing and she should lighten up. Still upset, Evie starts to feel that there is something strange going on at the mansion, and while walking back, she spots the library and wonders what's inside. Seeing that no one is around, she looks for the key and opens the door. While snooping inside, Evie accidentally drops a file, revealing documents containing detailed information about her. The woman is shocked with what she discovers, and quickly returns to her room and starts packing her belongings. While at it, Walter arrives and asks if she's okay. She answers that she's leaving while handing him the document she found. She then confronts the man about having a file on her, and accuses him of stalking. Despite Evie's allegation, Walter remains calm and explains that they maintain records of every individual that they allow to reside at their mansion. He adds that it is to prevent opportunistic people from taking advantage of him. Eventually, Evie relents and listens to his explanations. Walter expresses his desire to truly know the real her, and Evie tells him that he should just ask. After he apologizes, the two start getting frisky with each other and ends up sleeping together. Later, Walter tells her about the rehearsal dinner that night, and jokingly proposes that they should get married too, since both their families are already present. Evie goes along with his joke and accepts, and Walter presents her with another dress for the occasion. As night comes, Evie arrives in a stunning red dress complete with a mask, while everyone is waiting for her to be seated. Walter acknowledges the presence of all the other families, and gallantly kisses Evie's hand, causing her to blush. She asks where the bride and groom are, but Walter doesn't answer, and instead, he stands to announce his own marriage to none other than Evie. She is shocked by this new development and tries to talk to Walter, but the man ignores her and asks the maid to bring in the refreshments. The maid enters with the butler behind her, and without a warning, the butler slashes her throat and collects her blood into the empty bowl. The horrifying secret is now revealed: Walter, Victoria, and Lucy are all vampires. The Alexanders, Billington, and Klopstocks have an alliance with the DeVilles, where each has offered one of their women to be Walter's bride, and in return, their families can enjoy safety and prosperity for generations. It turns out that Emmeline was the original bride for Walter, but chose to end herself due to the guilt of draining humans and the loss of her love. Evie is terrified of what she just witnessed, and extremely scared of her supposed future husband. She realizes that the portrait she saw earlier was none other than Emmeline, her own great-grandmother, and all the nightmares and whispers are Emmeline's way of warning her of the danger she's about to face. She tries to flee, but two men at the door prevent her from going outside. She begs them to let her leave, but Walter tells her that the mansion is her new home. Walter inhumanly corners her at the door, and orders Lucy and Victoria to take care of Evie for the night. They take Evie to the dungeon, and try to convince her to just accept her fate. Victoria adds that their bloodlines are special, and with the four of them together, it will make them more powerful and immune to the effects of time. Lucy further explains that they were once in the exact same position as her, as Victoria has been with Walter for 500 years, while she was only 100. They get interrupted by the maid named Dia, who is chained to the wall and clearly has been a prisoner since the incident at the wine cellar. When Victoria is about to bite her, Evie interrupts and asks her not to because she likes the maid. Victoria then seals Evie in an ancient coffin, and leaves her begging and screaming to be let out. Sometime later, Mrs. Swift sneaks into the basement to release Evie from the coffin, and tells her that Emmeline was once her dear friend. She adds that a stake through the heart, beheading, or fire is the only way to kill the vampires, and urges her to not stop running until her plane is out of England. Evie is able to reach outside, but when she enters a cabin to hide, she is horrified to find all the recent victims of the vampire family. Mr. Field enters the cabin to dump Mrs. Swift's body, and luckily, Evie is able to hide under the table. When the man discovers her, Evie rushes out and locks the butler inside. She runs through the woods until she reaches a small town nearby. She asks an old couple for help, who introduces themselves as Jonathan and Mina Harker. Mina gives her a cup of tea, while Jonathan calls someone from the phone, and Evie assumes that they are the police. As Evie looks around the house, she sees a photo of Mr. Field with the couple and figures that they work for Walter as well. So when they urge her to drink her tea, she splashes the content on Jonathan's face, but before she can run away, Mina hits her and knocks her out. Sometime later, Evie wakes on a couch back at the mansion while Walter has been waiting for her. He then explains his origins, that in the old days, his kind was called Nosferatu, and in Wallachia, they called him the son of the dragon, meaning that Walter is none other than the famed Count Dracula. In a trance, Evie walks down the aisle to marry Walter for formalities, and after the exchange of blood, she immediately transforms into an immortal vampire. Afterward, she approaches Dia to be her next meal, but instead of taking a bite, she causes a fire and stakes Walter through his heart, which rapidly ages the vampire. She then releases Dia from her bindings, and grabs the weakened maid to escape. Victoria is furious with Evie and chases after her through the mansion, and when she catches up to them, a fight ensues and Victoria is able to claw Evie in the chest. Before the 500-year-old vampire can fatally hurt Evie, Lucy intervenes and begs them to stop fighting. Lucy refuses to obey Victoria's command, and while they are fighting, Lucy accidentally impales both of them with a wooden spear, turning them into ashes. As Evie watches their demise, Mr. Field arrives wielding another spear and tells her that he wishes he had killed her grandfather. But Evie is stronger, and is able to finish him off by breaking the spearhead and stabbing him in the chest. The fire she caused starts consuming the mansion, and Evie grabs a string as a weapon before looking for Walter as she learns that he is still alive. Walter confronts her before she can find him, and tells her that he was giving her a favor for saving Evie from her miserable existence, but instead, she ungratefully spits it in his face. Evie refuses to be part of his monster family, and uses the string to cut Walter's arm and kicks him into the fire. As Walter perishes to the fire, Evie reverts back to her human form and loses her powers, indicating that Walter's terror has come to an end. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. You can also hit the notification bell and like the video to help the channel out. Thank you.